All right. Welcome, everyone. How are you guys doing? Are you all right? You're sporting a
I,
mustache tonight.
I'm good. I'm good. I kind of like this
Okay.
new look. I think I'm gonna keep it.
Okay, let us know in the comments section if you're watching us. If you love Amin's mustache, let us know. If you hate it, I hate it. Let us know. Because somehow you seem to have this thing with the guys in my family. They don't seem to have enough facial hair. So it comes out a bit weird, if you know what I mean. All right. Okay. Anyway, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. If this is your first time tuning in, let us know. If this is your usual time tuning into us, type in popcorn. If you're a newbie, type in noob. All right. This is Nina. I'm Nina.
And I'm Amin, and welcome to our 65th episodes, guys.
Yep. 65th,
Yep,
65th episode of Just
65th
Langa.
episode. Yes.
Yep. And tonight we are talking about the future of work, working like it's actually 2021. So welcome one, welcome all. Now let us know who's in the house. Let us know if you're a regular popcooner, type in popcoon. And if it is your first time, type in noob. All right. Tell us where you're tuning in from and what you want to get from today's session, which is the future of work, working like it's 2021. Happening right here on Just Langa with me, Nina, and Amit. Now, while waiting for your replies, hey, Vivian, welcome. Pop Connor, well done. Okay, so while waiting for you guys, if you're new to the show, Just Langa is where I'm hearing some echo. Could you help us out? Hey, Rosita, welcome.
It should be
All
okay
right.
now.
Okay, cool. Now, Just Langa is where we interview the movers and shakers of the world to help you guys grow your authority, impact, and income as a thought leader, business influencer, and the authority in your respective industries. Now, in other words, we're Popcorn and we help build Southeast Asia's business influencers and thought leaders. So if this is something that excites you, please follow us on all our social media. Welcome, guys. Dila, welcome. So we don't just have
And Dr.
trainings.
Rosita said I should keep my mustache. So
Oh, right. Lose the mustache. Yeah, you look like a douchebag. I'm so sorry. But yeah, let us know. I don't think you carry the professional brand so much, but never mind. You can explore it. Okay, so we've got the Just Langa show coming, and next week, can we have a look at what's happening next week? So next week,
definitely.
16th of September is Malaysia Day, so we're taking off. But the week after, Thursday, 23rd September, we've got Brian Bacon Basilico. Yes, bacon, haram, but there's a reason. He's the author and director of B2B Marketing Interactive, host of the Bacon Podcast, who's going to be sharing with us relationship marketing strategies that spark your sales growth. So I'm very excited about this because this is the first time we're going to be talking about relationship marketing strategies. Yeah. Because a lot of people that we meet on LinkedIn, they just meet you and bam, they spam you. So what alternatives do you have? Relationship marketing is key. So again, if this is exciting, follow us on all our social media, and you'll get notified. All right. So, but tonight, what are we talking about tonight? We're talking about the future of work. All right. What's work going to be like in 2021 onwards? What isn't it about anymore? And embracing work in the workspace. And how to embrace it, because for a lot of people change is the hardest thing to do. And in fact, what are the skills that we need to have to make sure that we don't just survive, but we actually thrive in what everyone is saying now is the most annoying word of the century, the new normal. Did you know that? The new normal
I
is the
do, I
most.
do.
Yes.
I
Okay.
was actually Googling just a few days ago I was Googling the most uh overused word since COVID. So
Mm-hmm.
working from home is one of it. Pivot is one of it, right? So I think this is something that's very interesting for us to explore as well. Now, I'm also curious. Hold on, yeah. Just want to see. Do you guys hear any echo? Just want to do a double check. If you guys hear any echo, type echo, right? Type echo. Just want to make sure that all sounds is good.
And while
So
you're
no echo, eh? Looks good.
okay, cool.
Cool. I think we're okay. We're okay
All
with it.
right. Okay. I'm just double checking. Hey guys, welcome, especially if you're tuning in from LinkedIn. Linda, thank you so much for joining us. I think this is your first time joining us, right? Thank you so much. Linda actually sells masala tea, so I'm very excited about that. Okay, so tonight, tonight's topic, honestly, for me, I think is so important because if we do not pay attention to this, nobody is going to work for you. Let's just put it that way, because you're going to be seen as outdated and Jurassic Park. In other words, Neanderthal, if you like. So, what is it that you guys want to get from today's session? Let us know in the chat. Let us know. Let us know. Let us know, because it's not often that we get a powerhouse like our speaker tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
By the
let
way,
us know.
I'm also, yeah, I'm curious to know how many of you are back in the office, right? Since we are talking about future of work and all that, and I know that since a few days ago, where our government kind of like said that, hey, you know what, you guys can go back to the office and all that. How many of you are actually now back in the office and working back from the office?
And how many of you guys excited to be back? Or how many of you guys are like, oh my God, it's so difficult to be back?
Yeah, I was having a conversation with one of my clients a few days ago. They were like dragging themselves to the office. It's just like they don't want to go to the office. So we have like mixed conversation going on out there. Some are dragging themselves to the office. Some people are actually excited to go back to the office.
Yeah. So new normal, Marissa saying new normal is overused. Definitely.
Definitely.
But what other words can you use apart from the new normal? So I can't help it. So I mean,
Work from home.
It's also overused. Okay, anyway, so we're going to be using a lot of overused words. I hope you guys, can prepare yourself for it. But anyway, with respect to being a Nokia or outdated like Jurassic Park, I mean, obviously there's an implication to this, right? I mean, what do you want to get from tonight's session?
I want to know. I really would like to know what the future is like, because right now it's nobody actually knows. I think we've been working from home for more than a year plus, and now a lot of my clients are going back to the office. So I would love to know what's
Like
going to happen.
nothing happened? Okay.
Like they're going back to the office, and then they were like, they are not comfortable going back to the office. Some are comfortable going back to the office. And I think by knowing this, it allows us to plan strategies in terms of not just for social media, it's also for how do we actually work with our clients and all that. So I would love to know what the future will be like.
For me, I think there's definitely a new way. Things have shifted. We're never going to go back to what it used to be. A lot of us have learned how to work from home, and we're loving it. Office space is going to be changed. Relationship and office dynamic is going to be changed. But I need to hear it from an expert. I'm just predicting based on what I'm seeing online. I tend to pick up trends, which I think is a gift, but I need it certain from an expert. So today, what I would like to know is if the old ways of working, because I'm seeing the trend that how do we let go of the old ways of working? Because before we used to be like, we're like those helicopter parents micromanaging. And now if we need to trust our people, how do we do that? How do we do this easily, right? And in fact, what I'm really excited about, I think the future of work is here, and we can actively co-create this new future of work and have an impact to the world, really. But how do we do that? How do we make it awesome and easy? So that's what I'm really excited about tonight, especially because I'm one of those.
To that?
Yes, go on.
I'm going to add something to that, because I think knowing the future of how work is going to be like actually will help a lot of industry. If you are a trainer, if you are a coach, right? You can plan things out in terms of what is it they can provide for your client. If you are in the financial services and all that, right? You can plan things out for them as well. Because right now it's just that not certain. Another example would be this: are we all ready to embrace this? That's another thing that I want to know. And are all type of work are ready for that? It's like manufacturing. How about that? Okay, because you still need to go and do stuff there, right? All that. So I really like to hear from the expert today. Let's explore that.
Definitely. So that's what we're going to do. So if you think this is useful, is going to make a difference to somebody out there, then share this post out on your social media, tag them, tag your friends who's going to benefit from this. Let's get this out so everyone can benefit from tonight's episode. And once you guys are done with that, get your pens, get your notebooks, because what our speaker is going to share is going to be life-changing and is going to help you pave the way for the next 20, 30 years even. All right. So speaking of our speaker, who do we have in the house? Our guest tonight has led the growth of Workana since the company launched in 2012, first throughout Latin America and then in Asia. Now, he's passionate about empowering teams to achieve great things without the constraints of outdated traditions. And this involves embracing remote work, a flexible style of management, and advocating for the proper use of technology. We didn't even touch about technology, I mean, but yes, this is
Yep.
what's going to be happening. Now, having worked with tech companies since 2004, when he joined a small Latin American startup, Kiku, as he is known, is a seasoned leader with solid experience in digital marketing and high performance sales teams. In his personal time, Kiku enjoys cooking with his family and creating music. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're ready to find out about the future work, please give it up for the head of Asia at Workana, Alejandro Kikuchi. I hope I pronounced that. Kiku, welcome.
Hi there.
Welcome.
All right, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure, definitely.
That's beautiful. I'm hearing the accent now, the Latin American accent. Okay, Kiku, first things first, I'm gonna have to do the Asian thing. And what we do in Asia is we get all personal because we need to bypass this so that we can get into the interesting stuff of work. So can you please indulge me with some questions? And I think you've been here for how long now?
Go ahead, please.
Okay, how long have you been in Malaysia?
2.5 years.
Okay, so that's enough to know that we have no boundaries, right? We just go straight in and ask. Is that right?
Definitely. So please go ahead.
Okay, so first things first, how do I pronounce your name? The Alejandro Kikuchi part. Is it?
Kikuchi, you got it right. Oddly enough, on this part of the world, that's the easy part. And my first name is Alejandro.
Ah, right. So it's Alejandro. I have to it. Okay, got it. I mean, pronounce.
Alejandro. There's a Han there.
Oh, okay, got it. All right, and where are you from? Because you've got such a unique name, and are you sort of like, you come from two worlds? I'm assuming you're Japanese mixed with something. Assuming.
That's correct, yeah. So I was born in Argentina, in the capital, in Buenos Aires. My parents were born there as well, but my grandparents on my father's side, they were Japanese. They migrated from Japan to Argentina almost 100 years ago in the 1920s.
Wow. Is there a large Japanese community there? Just wondering.
There is a sizable enough Japanese community, yeah.
Wow. Okay, interesting, because we're not very familiar because it's almost like the other side of the earth for us,
Halfway.
Right? Yeah, it's basically
halfway,
right? Okay, cool. And okay, another one which I need to ask, because we have very good looking speakers and a lot of the girls were like, oh yeah, cute, you know, when I send out the message. Are you single? Because a lot of people are asking.
I'm not. No.
I'm sorry,
married.
Ladies. Yeah, happily married. Sorry. Next one. Okay. Okay, but can you at least indulge us? There's a hola Alejandro from City Asia City. Welcome. Can you at least speak Spanish, right? Can you indulge us? Because the moment we said Alejandro, everybody's like, Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga. Well, she wrote that song because of me. Don't tell anyone. But
okay.
But yeah, I can. Puedo hablar castellano, claro.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Okay, never mind what it means. That's fine. We just wanted to hear the accent. Okay, so what's your favorite thing about Malaysia? What's your unfavorite thing about Malaysia so far?
Oh, all right. Favorite thing has to be either people or food, or having food with the people. That's definitely one of the greatest things about this country, the diversity of people and food. Not like... that's hard. The traffic jam, I guess.
But now we don't have any anymore.
Now, definitely.
Okay, cool. So let's get straight into it. Okay, I hope you girls are satisfied. Okay, I asked you all the questions already. Okay, so now we can start the interview. Okay, so first things first, Kiku, in your own words, can you share with us a little bit about yourself? What were you doing before, and how did you end up working in Malaysia, and what is it that you do today?
Okay, sure. First of all, I hope my mustache is okay.
Your mustache is fine. Amin's mustache is not okay. Just say, right? Let me know in the comment.
I've had it for some time now. All right. So yeah, I've been living here in Malaysia for 2.5 years, as mentioned. I'm from Argentina. I moved directly from Argentina halfway around the world to Malaysia. I'm the head of Asia for Workana. Workana, I guess we'll dive a little bit deeper afterwards. It's a freelancing platform, basically, originally from Latin America. We launched there 9 years ago, so it's been quite some time. I was leading the growth initiatives, and at some point we decided to, well, we went through another round of investment and decided to use the part of those funds to expand beyond Latin America. And we decided on Southeast Asia, with Malaysia as the HQ for the region. Yeah, so I'm summarizing, of course, but that's basically why I'm here in Malaysia.
Wow. So basically, you guys were growing in Latin America. You had the other markets as well, Western markets, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. We are market leaders in Latin America, which is oddly enough, Latin America from population point of view is similar to Southeast Asia, like 600 million people. In some cases, it's more homogeneous than Southeast Asia, but still interesting enough. So yes, we are market leaders there with what we do, and we decided to expand beyond our home region
And
with all of the challenges.
Yeah, and the first region you targeted was Southeast Asia.
That's correct, yes.
Was there a reason why it was Southeast Asia? Sorry, just curious.
Yeah, no, sure, but it's a great question. So Southeast Asia has many of the same challenges we saw in Latin America when we launched. So we figured it made sense. That's where every solution has to start, with pain points or problems, right? So we figured that the region had many of the same challenges as Latin America still has. So it made sense. We diving a bit deeper, we got used to dealing with a variety of markets that share some things, do not share others. The challenges of some emerging markets as opposed to fully developed, nations. So being familiar with that, the challenges faced but the people there willing to work, but not necessarily moving to the big cities with the traffic jams and all of that. The companies, the challenges finding talent, retaining talent, and working in new ways, to put it in just like
right.
one
Okay.
phrase.
So the market was, I guess, it was very similar. It made it the best sense to kind of immediately come here and leverage on that kind of thing. Yeah.
I have a question.
Right.
I have a question.
Yeah. Go on, Amin.
I'm just trying to understand this. So basically, you guys are like Fiverr and Upwork, right? Or is that what you guys do?
That's a great point. It's very similar, and from a simple description point of view, it is the same. Both Fiverr and Upwork, as well as ourselves, we are all freelancing platforms. Fiverr and Upwork are far bigger, and they do great. So yes, at its core, we are similar. Now the truth is that on one hand, we've been focusing in different markets. Upwork, Fiverr, they focus on US, Western Europe, Australia perhaps, and mostly companies from there getting talent from the Middle East, Latin America, Southeast Asia, India, right, and Pakistan. So at its core, it's the same freelancing platform, but we focus on other markets, and we advocate more for companies hiring within their region. So the cultural barriers are not that strong. So the time difference is not that of a problem, and I'd say that's the main difference. And also, well, I'm little differences that are more nuanced in a sense on how we approach the service. Particularly, for example, here in Southeast Asia, we have a very personalized service or managed solution for our business clients. And at least in these markets, those companies are not offering that.
Okay, so going back to Workana, so you guys basically help people find freelance talents, right? Which area or where is it that people can hire where you have most of the talents in, so that the audience has a view and they know who to go to for this?
Of course, sure. So for the most part, we focus on tech talent. So that's the software developers, the web developers, data scientists, digital marketers, graphic designers, content writers. That's basically the kind of talent we deal with.
Okay, and the prices range from, would you happen to know? Because we know Fiverr is $5, I guess.
Right. Originally, they've been tweaking that, but the original idea behind Fiverr was that you would get things done for $5, right? In our case, we focus on bigger projects, but still an enormous range of price, since some people use Workana to develop a simple web page that can be done in 3 days. And other people use Workana to find a front-end developer and work with them for 6 months. So of course, that it can vary a lot.
Wow. Okay. Fantastic. I think that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. Just to clarify this, so in a way, if I want to get freelancers from Latin America, you guys will be the main key player for this. If I want to get freelancers from North America, then I go to the other group. Is that what you're saying, or just?
That's a greater way to put it. Latin America, you will not find a richer pool of talent than ours. North America, we are not really there.
But also, if I'm looking for somebody in my region, right, with my culture and cultural understanding,
precisely,
right?
Yeah. So that's what we focus the most. So we are, we are here in Malaysia, working a lot with Malaysian companies and helping them work with remote or on-demand talent in Malaysia, or at the very least in the region. So the time difference, for example, is non-existent or very small. That makes things easier.
I have another question. Oh, go on.
Just saying, with Latin America, we have 11 or 12 hours of difference. Right now, it's almost 10 a.m. in Argentina, for example. So it's very hard to work with someone with whom you have that big of a difference. So the local aspect is something we work around a lot.
Okay, I have one last question. Why did you guys set up in Kuala Lumpur? Why not Singapore? Because a lot of people seem to go to Singapore. This is just for me to know. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I get that question a lot by Malaysians more than Singaporeans, oddly enough. But so the thing is, we are a marketplace and we connect businesses with freelance or remote talent. So for finding businesses, Singapore makes sense. Many companies have their regional or full-on HQ there, right? But for the other side of the marketplace, for the talent, Singapore is really not that rich because it's such a small market, right? Malaysia had a nicer balance of the two. Still next door to Singapore, still a rich ecosystem of businesses, as well as a rich ecosystem of talent.
Okay. So I guess you decided to base yourself where the talent was. That makes a lot of sense, kind of thing. Yeah, it didn't occur to me. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It is. Again, being a marketplace, we need to worry about the two sides, not just one.
Yeah, because it's a dual marketplace, right? Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
I love Jocelyn's question because there's probably people who's watching and they're freelancing as well. So what type of talents are generally required in Asia and in Latin America so that they can equip themselves?
Right. So first of all, generic answer, broadly speaking, it's a similar kinds of profiles. So definitely software engineers, programmers, those are in high demand everywhere you look in the world. But then people working with data are also highly sought after more and more, even more with the pandemic, with all these companies going digital. And all of a sudden realizing, wow, I used to have a billboard in some avenue. Now I have all that money is in digital advertising, and all of a sudden I have all this data, right? So what do we do with it? Roles around business intelligence, data science are definitely in high demand in both regions, and revolving around content as well, translation and content writing. As businesses say, well, I can
Coming to
hire
digital.
people. Right, I can hire people in other countries. I can enter other markets without necessarily setting up shop there. You need local people to translate your content, your social media stuff to local. Maybe not translate it, but localize it. Because, for example, maybe you still want to do it in English, but there are nuances in how English is used here when compared to Hong Kong, right? Or
Yes.
Spanish is not the same in Mexico as in Argentina. So maybe not necessarily translating, but at least adapting. So content marketing is definitely a big thing as well.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much. So if people are interested to sign up, they can just go over and head to the Wakana website and just go up and sign up, I guess, right?
That's right. Yeah. If you want to hire a freelancer, you can post a project. We call them a project. You know what you want to do. You describe what you want to do. That's free of charge, and you get proposals from freelancers. If you want to sign up as a freelancer, it's also free of charge. There is an approval process, so it's not immediate. But yeah, definitely also open. That's in workana.com. Easy enough.
Okay. And if you guys want to connect with Alejandro, please look up Alejandro Kikuchi on LinkedIn. Why does it say YouTube and then it's a LinkedIn link? I mean, the mustache is blinding you. Okay.
It's a distracting mustache.
Yes, it's a distraction. Latin American men do better with their mustache than Asian. Okay, anyway, Southeast Asian for that matter. Okay, cool. So doing what you do, I guess you are the best person to kind of be asking about the future of work, because really a lot of companies now are kind of shifting to hire freelancers because there's a lot of uncertainties, right? If you think about it. Yeah,
definitely. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm the best. I do like to think I'm qualified. That's for sure. Qualified. I mean, we've been working with these kinds of changes and challenges for 9 years now, and even before that, I had my share of experience working remotely. Even in the early 2000s. So a long time ago. It's not just about working with freelancers. That's definitely a huge aspect of the future of work, in a sense. But there are others that are not necessarily about working with freelancers, but still much relevant to, I believe, any business nowadays. Of course, remote work being one of them, of course.
Okay, got it. So what is it that a lot of people don't understand? Is it that work has really changed? And if it has changed, how many % of it has changed? Because I think some people think they can just go back to normal. Some people think, it's just remote working that has changed things and more flexible.
Yeah.
But how many % would you say if you were to put percentage? And what is it that companies don't know? And what could be some of the consequences of not knowing this?
Right. Okay. So let's do. I'll be quick, but let's do like some timeline history kind of thing, right?
Yes,
so
please.
The year, let's say the year is the 1900s, right?
Okay.
Or 1850. Where does work take place? It's in the factory. That's where the machines are. That's where the parts are. You can only work if you go to the factory. All right, that's fine. 1900s. Fast forward to 1950. Now, all of a sudden, you still have factories, but all of a sudden, there's also offices. People go to an office to work, and all of a sudden, you have advertising agencies and law firms and accounting firms, and I don't know, right? So, but still, you go to work because that's where the paperwork is. That's where the bosses are, right? Now, but 2000, 2010. Why do we still go to the office? Work is no longer, the files are not physically there anymore for the most part. And the bosses are there, but can also be digital, right? So work is no longer somewhere you go to. It's something you do. And you may or may not do it from an office. Of course, if you're a doctor or a barista, this doesn't apply. So it's not for 100% of the people, but definitely for a large percentage. Now, something that changed radically between 2019 and before and 2020 with COVID and afterwards is that if not 100, 95% of the world's businesses got a taste, at least a taste of what remote work is like. 2018, 2015, some companies work remotely, some didn't, and that's it. Nowadays, you cannot find a single company that has not at least experienced or was forced to work remotely, right? Some people embrace it and love it. Some people resist it and want to go back to how things were. But at least they tried it, and that changes minds and mindsets and ways of doing things in so many ways. That's mind blowing. Circling now, I might have drifted. So going back to your original question, some things that I believe some businesses still don't get is that there's enormous advantages in embracing remote work, not necessarily fully, and you can have a hybrid model, definitely. And I actually believe hybrid models are the best.
Yes.
But embracing remote work, at least partly, there's huge advantages, and we can jump into that later. And at the same time, you need to embrace it in the right way. Working remotely is not doing the same things you were doing in the office, but over Zoom. That sucks. Spending 5, 6, 8 hours a day in a Zoom call is worse than being stuck in a traffic jam trying to get to the office. At least it's as bad, right? So that's not the right way of remote working. Yeah, let's be on Zoom all day, and I'll be texting you via WhatsApp until the late hours of because now we're remote, so you're on all day. No, that's a terrible way of remote working. And if you're doing that, maybe you might as well go back to the office and not embrace any new stuff, because that's not doing it right. So basically, what I believe, and of course that's why we do this, that's why we talk, that's why we help, that's why we listen first of all and share to help companies embrace the advantages of remote work and do it properly, because that helps everybody.
Right. Okay, got it. Love it, love it, love it. There's a lot of loves going on. Yeah, I mean, do you have anything to add?
I'm looking at all this thing that's going on, and one of the biggest question I ask right now is, with all of this thing that's happening, and then now people are going back to work, how are they adapting to all of these changes? Are they based on your own experience, based on your own observation? What do you think will happen? I mean, like suddenly now the government is saying, "Hey, you know what? Let's go back to the office," right?
And suddenly there's more cars on the road. Yeah. So what do you think?
Suddenly it's like a sudden impact. Suddenly there's more car on the road.
Right. Oh, yeah. So first of all, I can tell you what I think will happen. Of course, I do not know what will happen because it's so uncertain. If there's one thing the pandemic is teaching us, is that we don't know. Yeah. The lockdown is going to be just 1 month. Fast forward a year and a half, and
somebody
here we
said
are.
That.
Right? Yeah, I mean, so I don't know, but I think, and I'm lucky enough to be in a position in which we are discussing. There's the comment, right?
Yeah.
I'm lucky enough to be in a position in which I talk to other businesses all the times, partners, clients, you name it, both here in Malaysia, in a few other countries, in Southeast Asia, and in Latin America as well. I'm seeing all sorts of things going on. Some companies are going back to the office, but by teams. Team A goes, Mondays and Tuesdays. Team B goes Thursday and Fridays. Nobody goes on Wednesdays. I don't know. That's one. Others go, we go back to the office, but just Mondays and Thursdays. But some companies have people that moved away from where they used to be, moved away from the city where the office is. They said, "Hey, I'm working remotely. I'm going back to my parents. I live in this tiny unit in KL, and I've been stuck here for 6 months. I can't handle it anymore. I'm going to my parents' house in my hometown, in Pahang. I don't know, and I'm comfortable there. Ipoh, all right, not far away, right? And and then the company says, yeah, you need to come back to the office, and they are, well, but I'm not living in KL anymore, or whatever city it is. And as a company, I mean, you need to understand, I think, that that's fair, right? A, and B, you can still work with that person. So what I think will happen, well, number one, what I'm seeing happening is these hybrid models. Some people go on and work remotely constantly, others go back to the office, but not every day. Others go back to the office, but not everybody, and they switch and they take turns. We are hearing of the office at 50% capacity, so of course you cannot have everybody there. I'm hearing both about small companies with 10 people, 50 people, 5 people saying we don't have an office anymore. We just, when we meet, we go to some cafe. Now that if you are vaccinated, there's conditions that you can do it. And I'm also talking to huge corporations, multinational corporations that get rid. They have 5 floors on some tower, and get rid of 4 of those floors, keep just 1, and then do the hybrid thing. Mm-hmm. They save money. Instead of renting 5 floors, they rent just 1. People are not forced to drive to work every day, only once or twice a week or something like that. I mean, if with the right processes, with the right mindset, it helps everybody. Maybe not the landlords or the people selling petrol, but the rest. I mean, but most,
So based on your own observation, right, and based on your interaction with all of these people that you're working with, what is the top 3 discovery that you have found that is happening in companies now, right? They are going through all this chaos for more than 1 year, right? And if there is any discovery that you notice about what's going on with the company at this moment, what would that be for you?
Okay, so the first thing that comes to mind is the use of new tools. You have even all these companies, government-linked companies, I mean, or businesses in very traditional industries, all of a sudden embracing video call tools, collaboration tools like Miro, Murali,
Zoom,
digital stuff in general, Zoom, right. I mean, cloud-based services, Canva, definitely. Yeah. And 5 years ago, 2 years ago, they would not have considered doing any of that, right?
Why We're not allowed because there's lots of SOPs. You need to you need to ask the CEO and then the senior manager and the this and that, and it's just like,
Yeah. And decisions could only be made if you're all in one room, right? And that changed. So digitalization in general, I would say, is definitely one that companies that I see that companies embrace. Sometimes not in the best ways, but at least trying for sure. Another one would be not all businesses, but many being open to working with a wider pool of talent. If your office is in Bangsar South, just as an example, or whatever, you would hire people that live in a 20-40 kilometer radio around your office. So that limits your pool of talent by a lot, and you are competing because you're in a high density area. Other companies are also hiring within the same radius. That's terrible. Now all of a sudden we hear this all the time. Companies saying, I want to work with a Malaysian because they need to write content in Bahasa Malay, so all right, Malaysian. But where they are in Malaysia, it's the same because I work with them remotely anyway, and that's great. The company all of a sudden has access to a wider pool of talent. It's not just 30 kilometers around their office, but rather the whole country, including East Malaysia, of course. And the people, all of a sudden, you can live in your small town or some other city that's not KL or JB, the big cities, and still work in amazing projects with great companies. So it opens up opportunities. So that's definitely many people are also understanding and starting to see the value of. So that's another huge trend. You asked for 3, so I'm thinking about the third one. I mean, it definitely revolves around these things, right? Working in new ways, either digital tools, the pool of talent, I would say that there are some companies also embracing new ways of management. In a sense, it's tightly related, right? Since you do not have the employees 2 meters away from you all the time, so you need to manage people in a different way. You need to foster team building in a different way. You need to give feedback in a different way. You need to onboard, hire, everything has to be done in a different way if you were used to having everybody around you from 9 to 6 from Monday to Friday, right? So how you work with people, I know it's really, really broad, but that's changing a lot.
Right.
Right.
No,
So
I think that's really spot on,
it's really
though.
spot on.
Yeah.
So
You-
another question would be this: now that you've seen all of these things going on in the last 1 year plus, are we actually ready to move on and embrace these changes? Based on your observation, do you think that organizations, company, and the people itself are ready to move forward, or are we still struggling? So if we are still struggling,
I
what
have a
can we do?
question.
Yeah.
Are you asking this question with respect to Malaysian Asian companies or all
I'm talking
companies
about
around the world?
Malaysians. I'm talking about Malaysians, Asian companies, because you've been here for the last 1 year plus, more than 2 years, right?
More than
So
that,
based on your
definitely.
yeah, what do you think?
I think I include myself, my company. I include companies in Latin America. I think we're still struggling, but in a sense, let me frame that in an interesting way. It's like in a way, it's like asking a parent whether they were ready to be parents. It's like no.
You are
Like,
so good.
like I have 2 kids, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm still struggling. It's a constant learning kind of thing. I'm not sure you can ever say, oh yeah, I'm fully ready to, because the
Trust
thing
you.
with the the thing with the pandemic and the abrupt change it brought about, no one was ready, right? One day cases went like this. 2 days later, we were not allowed to leave the house. Of course, you're not ready. I mean, it's you can be better prepared, but fully ready, like. And even today we're struggling because there's all this stress and all this uncertainty. And kind of like parenting. So in a sense, what I would say is that we are still struggling, and that's okay. That's natural. That's what's expected, to be struggling in a sense. So it's not a matter of being struggling or not. It's a matter of what you do with that struggle. And what I believe is that and what I like to think that I do is take the challenge, and face it and see what we can do, and also admit that at times it's too much and you need to take a break, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Follow up question. Hold on, because
Okay.
I love this conversation because I think because I'm a money guy. I always look at struggles, then ka-ching,
Yeah.
there's opportunity. Okay, that's how I see it.
He has challenges embracing this, but it's good. It's good. There's a lot of people out there.
Yeah. So
Go on, I mean.
what are the struggles that's happening right now? And if there is a gap or an opportunity that we can come in to fulfill all of this gap based on your observation, what would that be? Because I think there's a lot of trainers, coaches out there, financial planners out there. There's a lot of people within our community and I'm looking at this and say, there must be a way to monetize all of this. There must be a way for us to just,
There is.
I would
there
love to
is-
know this.
there is-
Yeah.
There's plenty of companies already monetizing this, and
Mhm.
the service we are using right now to stream this is definitely one of the winners, because all of these events are happening via streaming right now. I love your question, and I think it makes a ton of sense, both to spark entrepreneurial ideas, and
Yes.
also because it's worth, definitely, and also because it's worth mentioning. There are struggles in many aspects. One of them is team collaboration, team building, team alignment, stuff that has to do with teams, right? Pre-pandemic, everybody was in the office every day. Everybody would say, hey, what do you think about this? Remember, we're doing this to get there. Over lunch, you would say, oh, I'm struggling with this other thing. There was all these unconscious, in a sense, things happening that made sure we were all, going in the same direction, bonding, and all of that. Now, all of a sudden, being stuck at home, that's not there anymore. There's still a huge opportunity, and it can be done to align people under a single unifying, inspiring purpose and objective. There's plenty of things you can do to build, to foster team building and collaboration and all of that. The challenge is that it does not longer happen on its own. Now, particularly business leaders have a responsibility to go out of their way to make it happen. You want to have team building. It's not even enough to just put people in an office, because you were not doing that, right? So now we have to purposefully, hey, let's play some whatever online game. Let's do this activity, this poll, this contest. And there's a huge opportunity for businesses who offer those kinds of services. Already many are out there, of course. Same thing for collaboration, same thing for aligning everybody with objectives. For that, I don't know, OKRs are great for alignment, objectives and key results, that methodology for goal setting. And then you have tools, and there's an opportunity for more tools or more interesting tools to help us work around those kinds of things. So teams. In one word, things related to teams is definitely, there still are huge business opportunities with that.
So trainers, listen to that, guys. There's like opportunity for team builders, OKR.
Yeah. So I did a little bit of research. What I found was that the challenges that a lot of companies are now facing as a result of this pandemic is employee engagement. And Alicia is also sharing one. There is a major disconnect between new hires within the company. How do you handle this? Because we now have a whole generation of new employees, if you think about it, who has been hired and who's never met their colleagues at work, if you think about it.
Yeah.
So there's an opportunity for employee engagement. And if before you can say, oh, my company don't need team building, but now, hello, you need a team building, right? If you think about it, because you're not meeting a person like what Kiku is saying. And of course, there's the constant digital upskilling, because whatever we were doing before, we now no longer know. We need to learn all these tools. And there's the job skills is also shifted kind of thing. It's always evolving. And of course, as a result of all this being online all the time, there's this mental well-being. I did a poll today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and mental well-being seems to be number one that HR leaders are facing with. Before, if in Malaysia you had a mental health problem, you're like, oh, just snap out of it. You're just weak. But now you cannot deny it. You know what I mean? So things have. So I think these are fantastic opportunities, kind of thing. But of course, yes, it's a struggle. It's a challenge. But going back to Alicia's question, how do we handle this situation? Especially for new hirees who's never met human beings in office. Hi, Adrina.
That's a great question. And I have firsthand experience. We are onboarding new people to our own teams just now. A new person joined us this Monday. A new one is joining us 10 days from now. So number one, as mentioned, it definitely needs to be in the agenda, like actively thinking about how are we going to onboard this person. It used to be as simple as have that person show up to the office on the first day.
Send them on a scavenger hunt, right?
Right. Everybody, this is, whatever. And then this is everybody. And then you go to lunch a few hours later. But now that's not there, of course. So what I can share what we do. We have a plan. We have we use Asana to organize our work. Some people use Trello. Some people use other task managers or
is it because it sounds like Workana? Sorry, cheesy.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
So we have a project there with all the steps that need to be followed for anybody new joining. We share articles about the company or articles written by other people about that we like. We introduce them to everybody on Slack. We use Slack for internal communications. We have them answer a questionnaire, a little bit like your Asian questions at first, just to get to know that person a little bit more. And we share that with the team. There's some interaction there. We do. We ask that person to have one-on-one meetings with everybody in the team and with the leaders of the whole company, so they get not in person, but at least some FaceTime live with many people in the team. So I could go on. There's many more things we do, but what I say is that there needs to be a plan, right? And maybe my plan does not work for Alicia or other people, but there needs to be a plan, some steps that include live conversations like this with team members, so they can hear that person's voice and see how they use their hands. A little bit of personal stuff, right? Yeah, favorite food, simple stuff, but you get to get that person to know that person a little bit more through that. That helps with new hires. Now that's the team bonding side of things. When it comes to business, we create what we call an expectations sheet, which is an awful name, I realize now, but it's a nice tool.
So have you changed it? What's the new name?
No, I'm just now realizing the name is awful. So
yeah,
give me
it is. I have to do a lot of clearing with people when they go, oh, I have hard expectations from my parents, and now there's expectation. It's, oh gosh, trauma comes up. But anyway, yes.
We will definitely rename it. But basically what we do is someone new joins the team, the manager of that person says, all right, listen, if it's a salesperson, of course, you'll have your quota, the revenue, whatever. If it's a programmer, you'll have to code, of course, right? That's the obvious stuff. But then also we create this sheet with some bullets about an ideal scenario, not about results, not about revenue or bugs fixed, but rather about how work goes. And it's not like you log in at 9 a.m. It's not that. It's you rely on your teammates when you need help. You regularly find yourself being able to help in turn your teammates. You have your email inbox up to date. I don't know, those kinds of things. It's not like we want to control what your inbox is like. We do want that person to work in the ways we feel are more healthy and productive. For us, among other things, that involves being able to rely on your teammates, being available for your teammates to rely on you, and having a clean inbox. There's 10 other things there. But we show what an ideal scenario is. In turn, we also show in this document what a bad scenario is, things we want to avoid. We want to avoid you being disengaged. We want to avoid you being fed up with your tasks, not finding inspiration, not wanting to come or log in to work every day. And then as managers or business leaders, we need to be open to having those conversations and to getting feedback and to being criticized at times. And so all of these things, so let me summarize it. The cultural aspect of work needs to be communicated to the new person as richly as possible. Of course, that's something you should be screening for in the interviewing process, right? The cultural fit, that's the technical stuff.
Wow. Okay. So basically, it's not just for when we're onboarding people and hiring people. It's also for continuous employee engagement, right? Because everybody is not in the office at the same time. So it's about being mindful about having these processes and things in place. What we otherwise would not need to do if we were meeting face to face, right?
Yeah, and let me add two things. Number one, because what I was just saying, that you can, if you are open to working remotely, you can now hire beyond your city.
Yes.
That's great. That also means that some other company can poach your talent, and that previously would not have happened, right? Because they are in some other city or country. So because of both things, employee engagement is key. And the great thing is that you do not need fancy welcome kits with custom-made T-shirts and I mean, if you can do it, if you can afford that, great. But you can also have great employee engagement with DIY kind of things as well. But there needs to be a plan. It needs to be in the agenda of the business leaders. That's for sure.
I have one more question because mental health kind of came up very high on the poll that I did today. So with this, with this constant, why do you think mental health has suddenly come up from nowhere? It just came up to being a huge thing on HR leaders' challenges. And what are some ways that companies can help their employees with this? Why is it that there's a mental health thingy happening?
Yeah, and it definitely is a huge thing and a huge issue that we need to deal with. So on one hand, I think this happens for a combination of things. First of all, the stuff that is not work, right? The stuff that's not work is stressful. You cannot go out anymore. You cannot travel to your hometown or to your home country. I haven't been able to visit Argentina, for example. And the uncertainty, you open up the newspaper, whatever 1,000 new cases, hospitals crammed, that's worrying, because then maybe you go, I don't want to get sick with COVID, but even I'm, let's say, you go, I'm healthy, I won't get COVID, or if I get it, it won't be bad. But if I get something else, I might not get proper medical attention because the hospitals are crammed. So there are many stressful things going on. And maybe you are completely healthy, but someone close is not, a friend, a relative. There's so much worry, so much to worry about, right? If it's not, at least if it's not yourself, your loved ones, and all these things. So all of that is like that's the context in which work happens, and it's like screaming in the back. Now on top of that, we are supposed to be working, right? And then work, I used to go to the office, but now I have to be work from home. And, I'm one of the lucky and privileged enough to have a separate office in my home, a separate room to have as an office. Many people do not have that. Many people have to work in the living room, in the bed, with the kids running around because they are not going to school, right?
So all this stress is just heading in,
right? Building up, right? And then all these companies doing, retrenchments and layoffs because of the impact. So there's stress all around, basically, and then many employers also, and it's understandably enough, of course, not really knowing how to deal with all of this. So then what I was saying earlier, all right, we'll do what we used to do in the office, but digital. So everybody, 17 people in a 5-hour meeting on Zoom, which is the least productive thing you could be doing. 17 people in a 5-hour meeting, right? Staring at little faces in a screen. That sucks. You get problems in your back even. So that's the other thing. Businesses not knowing how to deal with it. So all of that is why I believe these mental health issues happen, and of course with good reason, right? So how to deal with that? I believe businesses have a huge responsibility to deal with this. Deal with this means many things. Yes, you can get coaches and all of sorts of initiatives that cost money, and if you can afford it, that's great. But there's also things businesses can do that cost nothing and are also great. One being, for example, the bosses not reaching out to employees after office hours, right? If it's 7 p.m., do not send a message to your employee. I mean, if it's something urgent that happens once every couple of months, all right. But if it's a regular thing, then there's a problem with how work is organized, or weekends, right? Because one of the main reasons all of this stress is aggravated is that we suck at switching off, right? Because I'm connected all the time. If I get an email, looking at that email is as simple as looking at some tweet or Instagram. It's just a second, right? So why wouldn't I look at it? And if I can reply that email because my boss is asking something and I know the answer, I have it here, I can answer. It's just 2 minutes. It's no harm. So I do it. The problem is it's 9 p.m. I should have stopped working 3 hours ago, but I'm still on work mode. So that means I'm always in work mode. That means I'm always exhausted in work mode. Then
Always
I'm not
on.
always on. And that sucks. That does not allow you to then, when you are actually on, give your best, which is what would be great, right? So, it costs nothing. Companies do not need to hire a life coach or some fancy mindfulness app to do this.
Damn, those life coaches are there, but
Yeah,
yes.
no, they are great as well. What I'm saying is that there are simpler options that any boss can start doing now, right?
Okay.
Which is, don't send that email, that WhatsApp message, that phone call now because it's 9:30 p.m. Send it tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. when it's a normal working time.
Then
And
I have a request from all these tech
okay,
companies to have a time that you can schedule it out to go at between 9 to 5. Just saying.
that's fair.
Right?
That's fair.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, definitely.
So,
There are
so in a way,
tools,
there's no boundaries, son. That's it. People are
Yeah.
just
right? Right.
Okay,
boundaries
I
have
have
not
a
been
question.
set.
I have a question. Do you think that we in Asia are doing this worse compared to the people in the West? Or Argentinians in the same boat as Malaysians because we don't respect our own boundaries? Just wondering.
That's a great question. I wouldn't say it's a matter of region. It is a matter of culture, but not necessarily region. I mean, there are businesses in Argentina, across all of Latin America, that have these same issues with boundaries, with work-life balance, and there are businesses that do not. Just as here, I'm hearing about plenty of businesses here that are doing all sorts of amazing things revolving around mental health, revolving around organizing work in the right way, here in Asia as well as in Latin America. So there are, it is, again, right, it is a cultural thing, not necessarily across regions, rather across types of companies, types of working methodologies, maybe industries. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Can I share
Time
something?
check.
Yeah, time check.
9:30. Just saying. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, 9:30 already. Is this fast?
I
Do we still
know.
have time with you?
Yeah, because there's so many things to
Guys,
talk
yeah.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, time flies, right? So, okay, just a quick one on this. Because one of the, besides popcorn, I also run trainings as well. And I think one of the best, most training that I've done since last year is working with a remote team. That's like a lot of organizations coming to me and say, can you actually do this for us and all that, right? So on a monthly basis, I'm actually running like 2 or 3 programs on this one. And what I realized, right, the cases of people that is working for remotely is just, you are seeing a lot of unexpected cases, like couples working at 2 different states. They have not seen each other for like 6 months, right? You have like single individual working from home, and they are working alone at home. So I'm not surprised that all of this mental health is wellness is an issue. But we know that situations are bad, but I also want to know this: is there any business out there or organizations that are doing this well? Right? There must be companies, organizations that, you know what, besides all of the things that's happening right now, but they managed to go through all of this pandemic, and they managed to work with the team efficiently and effectively. What are some of the things that they are doing that we can learn from?
All right, that's a great question. So I have one, at least one, but I have one that I think is interesting. It has to do with embracing asynchronous communication. You have synchronous communication, things that happen live, like this conversation, and asynchronous communication. Asynchronous is an email, is a recorded video of yourself, is a task in Asana or Trello or Jira, ClickUp, those kinds of things. WhatsApp can be asynchronous or synchronous, depends, right? Now, embracing async and finding the right balance between the two is a major aspect, is transforming for organizations and it's amazing the kind of doors that can open. So let me elaborate a little bit. When let's say we all work in the same company, right? Doesn't matter who's the boss, whatever, but let's say that Nina, I need to ask you for some report. You have access to it, I don't, right? So I have a few options. I can give you a phone call, right? A phone call, I will interrupt whatever you're doing, right? If you're shopping, if you're working on something else, if you're sleeping, if you're eating, I will interrupt that. And I mean, even if you do not take the call, it's still, there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden in your mind, I called, right?
Goes
Yeah.
active.
If you don't pick it up, I'm interrupting you and I say, hey, Nina, I'm looking, I need the last month report for whatever. So then you go, you find it, you send it to me. All right. Now that's completely synchronous and disruptive. Now the opposite is sending you an email, right? I sent you an email. I said, Nina, when you have the time, can you please send me this? And maybe you see that email at that very moment. Maybe you see it 2 hours later or the next day, and that's fine. And what's great about this is that, number one, I'm not interrupting you, and being interrupted is one of the major problems with productivity. You know how you start diving into a certain task, and if you're interrupted, you do that thing, you go back and you start from scratch, building your concentration, your focus on that task. Now with asynchronous communication, you are not interrupting the other one. But also, if I, instead of calling you, send you an email, that gives me a chance to organize my thoughts, right? Hey, Nina, I need this report, not the one from July, but the one for August. I need it because I'm going to send it to whoever for the, thing with the government. I get a chance to organize my thoughts and convey them in an organized manner. Whereas I call you and say, hey, Nina, you have that report, and you tell me which one, July or August? No, let me think, July. WhatsApp audio messages have that problem. Do you ever get those audio messages? Hey, yeah, so listen, and that's,
Yes.
I mean, that's great. It's an audio message, maybe it's a family member, but it's when it's work, taking a little bit of extra time to organize the thoughts, put them in writing, and then assigning the right kind of urgency, right? Some things are urgent and do require a phone call. Most things are not and can be handled when the other person is in their best moment or mindset to handle that. So async communication allow people to do things when they can give their best for doing those things. And that can be life-changing for organizations working remotely, particularly.
Right. That's brilliant. Do you have
That's
any tools that you use for async communication? Just wondering.
We use Asana a lot. In Asana, instead of calling you for the report or sending you an email, I would create a task. And if the report I only need it next Friday, I would create a task, and the date there would be next Friday. So then you receive it and you say, all right, I don't need to do this now. You just ignore it until you need to look at it. So Asana or similar tools, I'm not advocating Asana particularly, it's just the one we use. But those kinds of tools are great. We use Google Drive, right? So for example, when we look at a presentation and 5 people need to comment on that presentation, it's for a town hall meeting with a whole company. Instead of doing a meeting and going through slide by slide, 5 people at the same time, it's Google Drive. You can leave comments. So one guy in Argentina says, hey, I understand this chart. Can we make it simpler? I see it the next day or whenever, and I go, all right, I changed it. You can collaborate in ways that are not necessarily all live at the same time, and that can help. For some things, you still need to have a live conversation. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but for many things you don't. And it's in a way, but for me at least, it's everyday tools: email, Google Drive, task managing things, not necessarily some new.
I think what's really important is because we're living in this sort of environment, and this will be the future of work, which is hybrid. We now we cannot deny that we need new sets of tools and ways of working, right? Because if before we were meeting in face, we just need to find those tools that support the digital workplace. That's all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely,
And find one that works for everyone, that's easy for everyone to adopt. Right? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's right.
time
So
check. Yeah.
time check. It's 9:40. So maybe we want to talk about the future, Lani, now. Let's talk about
Yes,
future now.
definitely. So
Mm.
in fact, we can write it off into the rapid fire round. So basically, what's the worst thing that what's the coming up? Okay, we spoke about what's happening right now in order to prepare for the future, so that we don't become Nokia and Jurassic Park kind of thing. What do we need to anticipate that's going to happen in the future, and how can we best prepare for it?
Oh, okay, that's a good one. Well, we've kind of touched on this, but what we need to prepare is for HR departments, people departments, people working on these topics, on these things, be ready to all sorts of disruption. And again, it's already happening, but
Mhm.
2 years ago, a company from another country would not have poached your talent because it was impossible. Now they can, because they just want remote people, and they found the ideal employee in someone of your employees, and they take them because they offer a better experience or a better salary or a better something, and they take them. And that's just one, but all of these challenges we're mentioning, some of them are, this is just the beginning, with employee engagement, with talent being poached from you, with
Mhm.
the talent, because of the opportunities, all of a sudden saying, I'm leaving, because you are not, this company is not offering whatever I'm looking for, and I'm realizing I can find it elsewhere. So it's kind of similar to talent being poached.
Mhm.
Basically, everything revolving around talent, hiring talent, onboarding talent, as we discussed, keeping them engaged, providing purpose, uh, 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 caring for them, and the mental health issues, as we mentioned as well. Everything revolving around talent is changing and will keep on changing massively. So every business leaders, of course, HR included, we need to be prepared for this. I
Wow.
mean, I
So
think we are getting ready, right?
yeah. So are you saying that the future is almost as if I am hiring sports athletes and I need to take care of them? I don't know. I'm just wondering.
If you're hiring what? Sorry.
I'm hiring and scouting for sports athletes, which will be assets to my company. I need to start thinking of approaching it that way. Could it be like that?
Yeah, definitely. So on one hand, the simpler tasks are getting automated. That's been
Yes.
happening
Mm-hmm.
forever, and now more than ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the simpler tasks that are getting automated, the more complex things are done by talent that is highly sought after. And so how we work with this kind of talent, the kind of tools we provide. I mean, and you mentioned, we didn't dive really into this, but upskilling and a constant
Mm.
learning and development programs are also becoming a huge things in companies now, and it makes
Mm-hmm.
sense, because then it's a way to keep an edge, to keep an edgy team, and also is beneficial to the employees, so that helps with engagement. um, so yes, the sports athletes analogy is definitely a valid one. I agree.
Wow. Okay. So if that is the case, how do employees position themselves so that they're very sought after? What can they do? This is where the
All
digital
right.
upskilling, yeah, the
Yeah.
other
So
question,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, definitely. From an employee perspective, definitely digital upskilling, getting familiarized with many of the tools we've been mentioning help a lot.
Mhm.
Because either that's what companies are looking for, but if not that, then at least that employee can be the person driving that change in the organization, right?
Mm-mm.
And also, uh, since the market for jobs is getting more complex out of being bigger and richer because it's more global, um, I would also encourage employees to not just see, not just this is just a job. Tell me, that phrase that give me money and I'll do shit for you. It's no longer
Right.
that simple, right?
Yeah, it's about purpose, right?
It's about
It's
purpose.
shifting,
So
yeah.
in some employees are looking for purpose. Some companies are looking for employees that are looking for purpose. It's kind of because as a hiring person myself, I don't want someone who just wants to know, all right, you want me to do ABC, I'll do ABC and you pay me and then that's it. And I'm not talking about overtime or anything like that, but I am talking about a deeper level of connection. So something as simple, when I'm interviewing someone, I would expect a good chunk of that interview to be about questions the interviewee has for me. An interview session for me is as much as me assessing the person as the person assessing me and my company. Otherwise, I don't understand why we're there. So employees, I would encourage to drive that kind of engagement and in a very, very simple and accurate piece of advice, ask a million questions when being in an interview. That shows interest. Employers love when an employee shows interest, basically.
Definitely. Yvonne is saying that looking forward to this future of work, simple tasks getting automated and more complex work done by talents that are highly sought after. Sounds like the future is good, but not if you're not equipping yourself. Kind of thing. So it sounds like if you're lazy at work, you better start upskilling yourself. I'm sorry, that sounds rude, but it's a fact, right?
If you're lazy at work, you're probably not working in the right kind of line or industry or company. I don't think anybody's lazy just because they're lazy. I think there's something missing.
There's a mismatch, probably.
Yeah, if someone is lazy at work, I would encourage that person to search within and outside for other things. Not necessarily other things within the job could be, right? But yeah.
Great point. I mean, last question before I ask the last one.
Quick one, simple yes and no. Is it an employee market or is it an employer market?
Good
one. It's an employee
market. Can I
market.
answer that? Okay. So it sounds like you're looking for your husband or your wife. It has to be a marriage made in heaven. The future seems to be like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you choose your
employee?
Employee. Because we already said this phrase quite sometimes. Highly sought after. There's a scarcity. There's a scarcity for many kinds of talents. Tech talent being one of them, and then it's a simple matter of supply and demand. Short supply, so high demand. So
I love it. This is again the sports analogy. What you need to know is you need to know what sports is in demand, who wants to watch it, who wants it. Get yourself equipped with that knowledge, provided you have the passion for it, hopefully, because otherwise you're going to be miserable or lazy.
Yeah.
And then ask for an agent to fight for you, which is Workana. Did I sum that up?
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
I'm good. This is all those films that
I'm
I
like
watch.
seeing I'm like seeing kaching everywhere.
Yeah, kaching, kaching.
So much I can do.
Because we can kaching because we can guide you there. Kind of thing.
Right.
So love it. Yeah, thank you. This has been so mind-blowing, very informative. Thank you so much. Because I think we need to understand this so that we can prepare ourselves for the future of work. Supply companies with the talents that they need or the learning and reducing that bridge or that gap between the talent that they need and the talent that they currently have, right? What's your biggest learning from this? Guys, let us know. What's your biggest learning from this, Amin?
Man, for me, it's just I'm just seeing a lot of opportunity happening right now because I think there's a lot of gap that needs to be fulfilled, right? But
definitely.
For us to fulfill that gap, we ourselves need to prepare for the changes.
Yes.
That's how I see it, right? Because example, like team building, right? Maybe for team building trainers, what they need to do right now is to equip themselves with skills so that they can actually deliver the program in such a way that it can be done online. That's how I see it.
And the experience is still the same.
And experience is still the same. You cannot just think that, hey, you know what, I can just hire and run my team building activities in a hotel right now, because that's how it used to be done prior to this. But you just need to find a way to blend it. It's blended right now. That's how you see it, right?
Just like blended families, it's blended because your people are also remote, right?
Exactly.
Right.
So it could be a blended team building, blended. Everything is going to be blended after this, right? It's a blend. I think it's a blended era, lah.
Yes, definitely blended collaboration, and I love that sports analogy kind of thing, because and I really think that if you are such a good talent, you're going to be in such a high demand, because wherever you go, you're just going to impact the company, that sort of thing. And for me, another huge learning, Kiku, thank you so much about the being offline and the async communication that we need to have.
Cool too.
Yeah, thank you. That
That's
one
like,
is like, I think it's because I'm Asian and we're just not very, I'm not very good at switching off. So ask him, he's annoyed. Okay, so
because she will message me at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Because I'll forget the next day, and then it's 8 o'clock, and then I'm messaging him again. You know what I mean?
And usually we already have this ground rule that we won't do anything on Saturday and Sunday, right? And then you have messages Saturday and Sunday.
No. I send it so that it's out there, and then you reply when you get to it. That's the story I tell myself. But anyway, Kiku, what is next for you? Last question.
Oh, all right. So, well, I did mention having onboarded people to our team here in Malaysia recently. So we are still hiring. So what's next for us is definitely growing the team. We've had a tremendous 2021 so far, luckily, business-wise, and intend to have an even better 2022. And for that, we are looking forward to keep on building a great team. So we are hiring. So basically, what's next for me is, working on our team, making it bigger and stronger. And
that sounds awesome. So if people are interested in working with you, I mean, you've got a boss like this who's not only good looking, because nice to look at, lad. If he shout at you, so you're like, it's okay. But that's not it. I love your philosophy and leadership, in the way you manage your team. So definitely a great boss. So how do they apply?
Well, you've been showcasing my LinkedIn profile. Everybody watching, do connect with me. If you're looking for a job, do let me know, because either ourselves or our clients might be looking. So definitely do reach out.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I've had such a fantastic time tonight. Let's quickly round it off, because we really got a lot of value. So happening next week, just to remind you guys, we're not going to be on air, but the week after, 23rd of September, we're going to be talking about relationship marketing strategies that spark your sales growth. So if you want to cover this, because this is another digital skill that we need to equip ourselves, you want to get on it. 23rd of September, 8:30
We're taking a break next week, guys. It's Malaysian Day.
Malaysia. Okay? Yeah, because we are practicing our boundaries, all right?
We need our boundaries. That's what we need.
Okay, got it. So that we can take a break and maybe enjoy asado, which is an Argentinian barbecue that I'm obsessed with, right? Yeah.
I had asado for a long time.
Yes, asado is awesome. I'll send you my video on LinkedIn.
We can get together sometime and then
definitely.
Have some asado. Why not?
Yeah. On your balcony. I hope your balcony is big enough.
It is. We'll be fine.
Okay, awesome. Okay, thank you so much, guys. We hope you learned something. In fact, if you learned something, let us know in the comment section. If you know somebody who's going to appreciate all these insights, please tag them, share this video out with them. But that's all from tonight. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you learned so much. All our love from Popcorn. So we'll be coming out with more videos and speakers. Let us know who you want us to interview. But that's all the time we have for tonight. So Amina signing off with Amin.
And I'm signing off. See you again after Malaysian Day, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.